away from the window! Kid!
At the beginning of the movie, we see a man named Felix enter a hotel room carrying a heavy bag. He immediately checks the window to make sure no one has followed him. After confirming he's alone, he closes the curtains and turns the radio up loud. Next, he rolls up the carpet, pries open the floorboards, and carefully hides the bag underneath. He puts everything back exactly the way it was, as if nothing had been disturbed. Hours later, someone knocks on the door. Felix grabs his gun and goes to check. It turns out to be his partner, so he opens the door and asks him to come inside, but the man shoots him to death. Movie then cuts to 10 years later. A car pulls up to the hotel. There are 10 rooms in the hotel and one of them still holds the mysterious bag. A singer named Darlene gets out of the car, heading to perform at the Reno. She meets Father Daniel and has a brief chat with him. At one time this place was busy and often visited by celebrities, but after losing its casino license it now looks run down. Father Daniel helps Darlene with her luggage and they both enter the hotel, but there's no one there to welcome them. They meet another guest named John, who seems very friendly. Darlene, tired of waiting, knocks and asks if anyone is there. A young man named Miles comes out. He's the only employee. He welcomes them. The unique thing about the hotel is that it sits on the border of 2 states. One half is in California, and the other half is in Nevada. Guests can choose which state they want to stay in. A girl named Emily enters the hotel. All 4 of them sign their names and go to their rooms. Room 1. John introduced himself to the others as a vacuum salesman, but he is actually a special agent. Inside his suitcase he takes out a hidden case filled with tools. He calls his wife on the telephone. As he is speaking, he checks the phone and finds a microphone. He cuts it out and removes it. He ends the call and begins to search every inch of the room. He finds microphones behind the switch, inside the clock, and under the table. At last, he finds 18 microphones in the room. His department knows that illegal activity is going on in this hotel. That's why they have sent John to investigate. He looks at the mirror and becomes suspicious of it. He measures the room from the inside, but there is a difference when he measures it from the outside. So John realizes there is a space behind the mirror. To investigate further, he goes to the hotel reception, but he cannot find Miles. He opens the key storage box, takes a key and unlocks the door. There he finds Miles high on drugs. He finds another door there, but he cannot open it with the key he has, so he uses his tools to open it. Without further thinking he goes down. He wanders through a hall that contains 2-way mirrors for every room in the hotel. He notices a 3-dot mark on the floor. Then he sees a camera and realizes the mark was made by the tripod. He sees Daniel removing the floorboards. It looks like he is searching for the heavy bag. He is not a priest. In the next room, he sees Darlene. She is singing and rehearsing to perform the next day. He turns on the switch below the mirror, and he is able to clearly hear her singing. All the microphones in the room are used for that. The next room is empty. In the room after that, John sees a gun and a knife. As he is looking at them, Emily drags an unconscious girl into her room. She ties the girl to a chair. He checks the camera, but there is no film in it. Daniel couldn't find the bag there. John goes to a pay phone, calls his department, and reports the situation. Dear viewers, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Room 5 takes us to a brief flashback of Darlene. While she is singing, the director interrupts and calls for a cut, saying he wants to speak to her alone. He tells her that she sings beautifully and that he is ready to offer her a big opportunity that could change her life. However, in return, he expects something inappropriate from her. Darlene reluctantly agrees to the deal. That is why she is heading to Reno to perform. She hears a knock on the door. It is Daniel. He invites Darlene to have dinner with him in the lounge. Miles is not there to help them, so they decide to eat food from the vending machine. They have a good chat while eating. Daniel then goes to get drinks for both of them. He pours whiskey into 2 glasses, takes a small bottle from his pocket and mixes it into one of the glasses. He turns around to give it to her.
But until then...
Washington, D.C. John reports everything about the microphone he found, the 2-way mirror, and the camera. His department tells him to stay there and find out more. They also instruct him that no guest should leave, and that he must find the missing film roll from the camera. John removes a wire from every car that connects to the battery. He reports the kidnapping situation in room 7, but his superior tells him to prioritize finding the footage. Other than that, he is instructed not to interfere in anything. Room 7. We see a man named Billy. He meets a girl who has run away from home. It is teenage Emily. The unconscious girl wakes up. Her name is Rose. She is none other than Emily's own sister. As they are talking, they hear a knock on the door. Emily grabs her gun and goes to check. It is John. She asks him what he wants. He replies that the storm is getting worse and the power supply is unstable. The boy at the front desk wants to make sure everyone is safe. Emily tells him she is fine and asks him to leave. After a few seconds, she steps forward to check if he is gone. Suddenly, John breaks the door open and knocks Emily down. Now we see Emily as a young girl. She and her sister have a drunk father who beats them for no reason. Emily hides her sister from him every day. In the present, adult Emily takes a shotgun from under the bed. John unties Rose and tells her to relax. Emily tells Rose to step away. John looks for the gun he saw earlier. Emily shoots John to death. While Emily was shooting at John, the two-way mirror behind him shattered. Both of them are surprised to discover the hidden space behind it. Miles wakes Daniel up from the floor. Miles asks what happened. Daniel laughs it off, saying he's just getting old and slipped while pouring his drink. Miles says it's been years since his last confession. His voice shakes. He's done horrible things and wants to confess. But Daniel, pretending to be a priest, has no interest in listening. Daniel says he's lost his key and needs the master key. Miles tries to find it, but it's missing. He rushes to his room, but it's not there either. Realizing something is wrong, Miles walks into the secret hallway. Daniel follows closely behind, and freezes in shock at the sight. Daniel grabs Miles by the shirt. "Did you watch me?" he demands. Miles shakes his head. "No, I didn't. I only watch what management tells me to watch. Sometimes they make me record everything through the cameras, then I mail the footage to management." Daniel, have you ever kept a film for yourself? Miles hesitates. Daniel asks again. Yes, Miles admits. Last New Year, a big celebrity stayed here. Management wanted the footage badly, but he was kind to me, so I lied. I told them there was no woman with him. Miles still has the footage. They both see a girl tied to a chair. It's the moment Rose comes back to consciousness. Daniel asks where the footage is, and goes to Miles's room to get it. Miles sees John entering the room. Daniel plans to make money from the footage. Miles calls out to Daniel, saying that she has a gun in her hand. Daniel tells him to move away. Miles calls for Daniel's help. Emily sees Miles lying on the floor. Then the scene cuts back to an earlier moment, when Daniel secretly mixes something into her drink, but she notices it, removes her heels, runs to him, and attacks Daniel by hitting him on the head with a bottle. Then she rushes to her room and grabs the car key, and on the way, she sees John doing something to her car. After he goes back to his room, she runs to the car, but it won't start. She has no idea what to do. She sees John again as he knocks on room number 7. She watches as John dies. Emily tells Rose to stay there and goes to check. She notices a telephone, calls someone, and shares the location. Then Emily calls Rose over, and Rose joins her. Darlene goes into the room, takes the wire from him, and grabs the gun. She connects the wire to the battery but still struggles to start it. Then she hears a knock on the window. Daniel calms her and says he wants to speak with her, and Darlene allows it. Daniel apologizes for earlier and explains that he didn't try to drug her to do anything inappropriate, he just wanted to get into her room. 10 years earlier, Daniel and his two partners successfully carry out a heist on a money-carrying vehicle. They hear sirens in the distance. Daniel gives the money bag to Felix. He plans to distract the police, and all three agree to meet at the El Royale that night. But things don't go as planned. Daniel is caught by the police and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Their third partner kills Felix to take all the money for himself, but he doesn't know the money is hidden under the floor, so the third partner couldn't find it. Daniel, however, knows this. It has to be in either room 4 or 5. He already checked room 4, so it must be in room 5. He offers Darlene half the money if she agrees to help him. Emily ties Miles to a chair. Miles begs her not to kill him. Emily goes to check on the others. Darlene pretends she is rehearsing, while Daniel hides between the beds. As she claps while singing, Daniel uses the tools to remove the floorboards and finds the bag underneath. Emily doesn't notice anything suspicious. A brief moment reveals that Rose killed her father. Rose's boyfriend, Billy Lee, enters the hotel, and Darlene and Daniel are stopped by his gang members. Billy Lee, after Rose killed her father, Emily took her to him so she wouldn't end up in prison, as he is an old friend of hers. Billy runs a large gang made up of homeless people, and he is their leader. One day, he organizes a fight, saying that whoever wins will get a chance to sleep with him. Rose joins the fight and wins. Emily is disturbed by this. She knows how dangerous Billy is, and Rose is far too young to sleep with someone. So, weeks later, she makes a plan and kidnaps Rose from Billy. Billy ties everyone up, and dumps the money from the bag onto the table. He also notices the film roll. He sends 2 of his men to check every room in the hotel. Then he shoots Emily to death for taking Rose from him. Billy asks Daniel where the money came from, and Daniel explains everything. In the middle of their conversation, the power goes out due to the storm. perform. The silence becomes overwhelming, and Billy doesn't like it, so he asks Darlene to sing. Darlene sings, believing it might be the last time she ever does. As he is about to shoot Darlene, Daniel headbutts him. Darlene knocks the table over, and a gun falls near Miles. Daniel and Billy were fighting each other. When one of the men tries to shoot, Rose stops him, afraid it might hit Billy. Miles keeps repeating that he can't do it anymore, his voice shaking. Darlene urges him to help, but he says he can't kill anyone anymore. She asks how many people he's killed. Miles answers in a low voice, 123. The scene cuts to his past, when he was a soldier. During the Vietnam War, he kills many people. The next day, he wakes up surrounded by dead bodies. That moment breaks him, and he decides to quit being a soldier. Darlene tells Miles it's okay, he doesn't have to kill anymore. Billy punches Daniel in the mouth and grabs the gun to shoot him. Then he turns, hearing a trigger click. As he's about to speak, Miles shoots him dead and then takes down the other man. The girl hides behind the sofa, but she doesn't know he's one of the best shooters in the world. He hands the gun to Daniel and cuts his ropes with a knife. Then he goes out to take down the two other men. Daniel unties Darlene. Rose is heartbroken after seeing her lover's death. Miles apologizes to her, but she takes the knife from Billy and stabs Miles in revenge. Daniel shoots her dead. Miles is bleeding so badly that they can't save him. Still believing Daniel is a priest, Miles confesses, and Daniel forgives all his sins. He dies in peace. They put the money back in the bag, and she throws the film roll into the fire. The whole place burns down to ashes. Weeks later in Reno, Daniel goes to a casino where Darlene is about to perform. She sees Daniel and gives him a small nod and a smile. With that, the film ends.